Hello, dear students. Get ready for a fun audio lesson of English ahead. Here we will learn and have a great time together. Unit 3. The Selfish Giant. Long, long ago, there lived a giant. He lived in a house with a beautiful garden. Once, he was away for 7 long years. His house was left unguarded. During this time, every afternoon, the children returning from school used to go and play in his garden. It was a large, lovely garden, with soft green grass. Here and there over the grass stood beautiful flowers like stars, and there were 12 peach trees that broke out in small blossoms in spring. How happy we are here! The children cried to each other. One day, the giant came back. When he arrived, he saw the children playing in the garden. "What are you doing here?" he cried in a very gruff voice, and the children ran away. "I will allow nobody to use my garden but myself," said the giant loudly. And he built a high wall round his garden. He was a very selfish giant. Now, the poor children had nowhere to play. They used to wander around the high walls and talk about the beautiful garden inside. How happy we were there! They said to each other. Spring came. All over the country there were little blossoms and little birds. Only in the garden of the selfish giant, it was still winter. The birds did not care to sing in it as there were no children. The trees forgot to blossom. "I cannot understand why spring is so late," said the selfish giant, as he sat at the window and looked out at his cold, white garden. "I hope there will be a change in the weather." One morning, the giant was lying awake in bed when he heard some lovely music. It was a little bird singing outside his window, but it was so long since he had heard a bird sing in his garden that it seemed to him to be the most beautiful music in the world. "I believe spring has come at last," said the giant, and he jumped out of bed and looked out. He saw the most beautiful sight. Through a little hole in the wall, the children had come in. In every tree that he could see, there was a little child. And the trees were so glad to have the children back again that they had covered themselves with blossoms. The birds were flying about and chirping with delight, and the flowers were looking up through the green grass and laughing. It was a lovely scene. The giant's heart melted as he looked out. "How selfish I have been," he said. "Now I know why spring would not come here. I will knock down the wall, and then my garden shall be the children's playground forever and ever." Keep on watching for mastering in reading, listening, and speaking skills.